Hello everyone that's watching this video. Today I'm doing Tableau and I have my sales data set here on the data source page. So it has data from the US, the region, the state, zip code, city, sales date, including the publisher, book title, sales, profit, and finally the profit margin. And I'm going to use this data to conduct surveys and graphs and how I can use it and why. I'll start off with the profit for each publisher. For this data sheet, it has the money amount up to $45 million profit. You can see the money right here. So for February, you can see that the publisher, Millions Publishing, has $41 million in February, and you can compare it to another publishing like HarperCollins Publishing. So that's 26, and it goes month by month. So you can see when the competition was high, right here in June, sales were all down, and you can see where the peak was here in April. So that's what this data is supposed to show you, the time of the year of when these publishing companies were making money and when they weren't, like here in June, and it just goes up and down throughout the year. Right here is publishers' minimum profit by each state comparison. So this is all these publishing companies for across the United States, and you're probably saying, why is this white? Well, it's color-coded to show you the minimum. So right here in the top right, there's a minimum profit. So you can see it's negative 15,000 up to 84,929, and that is the minimum each state makes for these publishing companies of total revenue. So, like right here, Texas, for Harper's $324, Millions is negative. So for Texas, one can get a profit of only $300, and then here the minimum is $1,400 loss. And right here for Random Penguins is $459. So you look at all that, and that's what this data is supposed to show. The red, it just makes it clear from a distance that, hey, that's not going to be typically a loss. But when you look at the lighter colors, that's where they make very little revenue for the minimum. So you can see darker shades make a larger amount. So that's what this pattern is supposed to show, and that's what this data right here is for. And you use the longitude, latitude to show a graph as such through Tableau. And what I did here, I also clicked right here, and I just ended up filtering and formatting the colors I wanted. And the color scheme, I felt like red brought out more of a pop and more noticeable demographic for this graph right here. So this is books revenue for each state. So for the title on the left right here, you can see that it says Main Street. So that's a book title, and here are all the cities. And we're trying to catch like outliers for certain states. So you can see Los Angeles is an outlier when it comes to revenue for that book title. And it goes down, another outlier, San Francisco. So the big cities end up making the larger amount of money. You look at another book title, you can see that Baltimore is an outlier. You can see Chicago again. Here's Dallas, another big city, as an outlier. Houston, Jacksonville. Here, if you scroll down, Los Angeles is the biggest outlier consistently. And you can see that through other book titles, and this goes down to Good Soldier. And it just has a couple outliers, but every time you go to Los Angeles, you can probably see an outlier. It is, not a lot, but compared to everyone else, it is. So this is just a data set. If you scroll down, it has every single book, has the amount of sales revenue. You're probably like, why is it at 20 million? Because some will reach that. You can see right here, The Secret Agent, New York City. It's about at 14 million, so 14,200,000. So if you keep scrolling, you'll eventually end up running into some data that's close to 20 million. That's why it goes that far. Look right here. This book right here is at 19.5 million. So there are some outliers, and this is what this is supposed to pinpoint for the book title. And for also when you format, I could have made this a shade in the background, make it a gray, but I wanted it to be clear and noticeable and clean. Right here, I want to just make the title noticeable, books revenue for each state on the top, just doing a shade here in purple. So for the next, we are talking about the book title max sales for each month. So this is the maximum sales for each book throughout the year. So this is just showing the title of the book and what their maximum capacity in revenue for each month. So you can look at all these books and compare them as a screenshot when you roll over, and you can say, wow, all these books did not do anywhere compared to a Farewell to Arms when it was September. No one's even close. So you can see that from this view. When you scroll down, there's more books, and you can say, wow, Wide Sea right here is at a top for July at 8 million sales, and the closest one for, if you were to say July, no one's going to be coming close. So that's what this data is supposed to point. It shows all the books, and this is their max profit, and here's the max sales. It goes up to $8 million, and it has all the months through a whole year. You can do this quarterly, of incline and decline throughout the year, so you can see what seasons are best. So this is the city revenue. For this, I decided to do a publisher, just one publisher, and this is the Harper Calls Publishing, and it's to show just their sales revenue in the city. The different cities make a different revenue on sales. So this is every single city of throughout the whole country, and it gets darker. You can see the cities right here on the right. I'm scrolling through them right now. This is every single city. I think it's cities. So to think about 400 plus cities in this is pretty incredible. And this is showing all the data sets. So it ends up showing how much their sales are. So the larger this bubble is of the city, the more revenue it makes. So you can already say, well, I looked at that other data earlier. Los Angeles and New York are always on the top for outliers. And you can see right here, Los Angeles, 26 million for this publisher, Harper Calls Publishing, and that's for the whole year. And it's 26. Well, New York City beats it by over 12 million, and it has 37 million in sales. This is just for the one publisher. You can also set it up for 3 or more and get a little messy because it'll just end up shading it. So I just want to do one individual to show this. But you can see all these cities right here, down here, and how small their revenue is compared to Los Angeles. And trying to show Tampa right here, won't even do it. And Tallahassee, 300,000, another big city right here. You can see Seattle making 15 million. So this is showing the sales revenue of the city for the publishing. So it shows their revenue. It shows the smallest amount to the largest. And you can see the smallest in the top right is 880 in sales. The largest, 37 million, and that's New York City. So that's what this is supposed to show, a little demographic of the United States of Harper Calls Publishing. This is the dashboard. This is a condensed little format showing of all the data sets here, of all the information that has been conducted through all of these. So that's my video, and what I learned from this was just the aspect of what I needed to do to think outside the box, and what could you use in a presentation to find certain information for a presentation for a company, to see where your weakness is, because you can see out here in Montana people aren't interested, so why would you advertise out there? The advertisement you want to push out is Los Angeles, New York City. This is what people do for campaigns in Chicago, and then you go here to Seattle. Why would you want to campaign in Vancouver? Why would you want to produce or advertise here in New Mexico or Tallahassee? Now, if some books, and you can look by book title and do it that way also, and see where certain books can reach, like The Soldier was not a big book, so that's a military type of story, is not really in this region. So you can also find certain data sets to see and help for even marketing in a presentation to find out where you can actually advertise. So there's always something you can look at and look at an angle to help you show what you need to go and what direction you need to do. So this is just showing, hey, where are the sales coming from? Where's the most revenue? And you can also look type of book, So if you're looking for a certain theme here, this is just saying, well, these are book titles, so you can go by book type and see where the peak is. So Halloween, look in October where the sales are for books. The highest here, September, highest here, October. So fall season is sometimes the highest. So you can also find a pattern here, October again, you see a spike in the fall. So you can find a pattern with these books of, hey, when's the highest sales? So this is a C book, so that's a summer book. So you can find a pattern with marketing with these data sets. We look back here, this is just talking about the sales revenue in each state by book title. So some states are bigger hits depending on the topic, and that's where you can see with these data sets. I'm just going back to look at it again. You can see where some states are really a loss. Texas isn't a big bookseller. You can tell looking at the minimums right here. You can tell which ones are a hit. You can see right here by Wyoming, it's pretty consistent if the publishing company sells a book there. So you could say, wow, Harper's doing real well. Maybe we should mark it out there. Because look, you got 2 blanks right here because they aren't selling any books there, but it's still a hit. Look at here, West Virginia. It's a hit consistently, but Random Penguins isn't publishing it. So that's just some things you can pinpoint and see from the data when it just comes from marketing. Here, this is just knowing who's the top dog. McMillions Publishing, boom, on the top throughout the whole year. It does get tight here in June, and that's where book sales normally go down. So you can see that these publishing companies tend to make money in the early spring. So that's just something to see and something you can use with the data. So, and also the little editing you can do, you can make the colors pop, you can change the shading in the background, color schemes, numbers. So there's a lot you can do with the data, and it can be very helpful when you want to answer questions in a short period of time. So this data set was very useful in me creating a story out of this and what you can do with certain books.